What is lighting up our tape on the volatility front this week? Again, kind of a bit of a mixed bag. We start off spicy, pinning the needle to the upside, then we drift to the other direction by the bottom half of our C-vol here, listeners. So let's start at the top. It's the metals aggregate C-vol, 26.38. This is an explosive move, up nearly 6 points just today. That's a huge move for metals vol. So metals vol getting quite spicy out there. You know, we're used to names like gold hanging out at like a 16, and gold obviously is the king of the metals. So when we see the aggregate metals C-vol at a 26 and gaining 6 points in one day, that's unusual. 26.38, so not quite the high for the week, but pretty darn close. The high was actually nearly 28, 27.92, and the low was 20.43, so hell of a range on metals C-vol out there as well. Again, we don't see that very often. So a very, very interesting times out here in the metals market, and that reflected in the vol. Huge action in metals C-vol this week, listeners. Below it, we have the aggregate commodities C-vol. That's at a 40.19, gaining about 2 3/4 points just today. On the week, this is one now we're starting to drift lower in the C-vol. The high was 43, the low 37.5, so we're close to the middle of that range there, listeners. Then we go down to the aggregate energy C-vol, and we're starting to drift the other way. 59.46, up about a point today, so getting a little bit of juice today, but close to the low for the week. The low was 58.56, so about 0.9 from the low. The high 63.54, so another thing, an impressive range on all of these we're seeing this week. Below it, we go out to the realm of FX. FX C-vol 11.51 today, up 0.31 today. On the week, again, you don't see a lot of vol in FX. So FX C-vol having a range of 11.2 to the downside and 13.91 to the upside. So 2.71 point range on the week for FX C-vol. That's a lot. So again, reflecting, if you weren't quite convinced by the massive swings in the equities or the massive explosion in the metals or some of these other assets, if you weren't quite convinced that we were living in some nigh on unprecedented markets together, then look at the range we're seeing in the C-vol. So you pick your product out here. It's quite the wild week out here. Below it, we have the ag products, listeners, 1866. Now we're moving in the other direction. Now we're moving in the vol collapse direction, off about 0.26 today. That is the low for the week. The high, 20.42. So they are taking it to ag vol this week. And below it, we have the treasuries. Treasury price vol, 7.9, off nearly half a point just today. 0.44 today. That's a huge move for treasury price vol. You're starting at a base level of around 8, giving up nearly half a point in a day. That's a big move, listeners. That is the low for the week. The high, 10.13. So again, we don't see nearly 2 1/4 point ranges in treasury price vol every week. Usually treasury vol just sits there and does nothing. So nearly 2 1/4 point range just in a week, nearly half a point move just today. Yeah, we are flirting with some historic territory here. And below it, we have the treasury yield vol. You know this one's a beast, and you know it's moving quite a bit if everything else is moving. 143.21 right now, off 7.01 points just today. That is the low for the week. The high, get this, listeners, 177.38. So we're talking a 34.17 point range on the week, listeners. So wild stuff out here